A pair of dramatic White House announcements adding rocket fuel to the markets today and boosting hopes for Americans' bottom line going forward. Take a look at the Dow right now, up more than 940 points. It was up more than 1,000 at different points today, fueled by news that the U.S. and China are each slashing tariff rates while they negotiate a broader trade deal. The president said this morning that weekend talks were positive and bode well for the future.
The talks in Geneva were very friendly. The relationship is very good. We're not looking to hurt China. China was being hurt very badly. They were closing up factories. They were having a lot of unrest. And they were very happy to be able to do something with us.
We should note that event was not about China. It was actually held for the president to sign an executive order to rein in the cost of prescription drugs, which tend to be 2 to 3 times higher on average than in other developed nations. That plan is actually not new. The president introduced it during his first term, but failed to follow federal requirements and was stopped by a judge. Gabe Gutierrez is back with me. Also with us, MSNBC contributor and columnist Charlie Sykes. Well, Gabe, let me start on this U.S.-China deal. What's in it? And what did the U.S. actually gain from the trade war we've been watching for the past 6 weeks?
Hello again, Chris. Well, it is a dramatic development, as you mentioned, and it comes after those 2 days of talks in Geneva over the weekend with between Secretary of the Treasury Scott Bessent and other top Chinese officials. And it really amounts to a reset of the relationship between the world's 2 largest economies. Now, you see right there, the U.S. agreeing to lower its tariff rate on Chinese imports from 145% down to 30%. China agreeing to do the same from its tariff rate of 125% on U.S. imports down to 10%. Now, this is a temporary deal. Negotiations will continue over the next 90 days. And this morning, Scott Bessent, the Treasury Secretary, spoke about it and spoke about his discussions with China over the weekend. Let's listen.
We tried to identify shared interest. We came with a list of problems that we were trying to solve. And I think we did a good job on that. And again, this is a 90-day pause. For our tariff program, we had a plan, we had a process, and now what we have with the Chinese is a mechanism to avoid an upward tariff pressure like we did last time.
And again, those negotiations set to continue in the coming weeks. And President Trump says that he plans to speak with Chinese President Xi Jinping perhaps later this week. Chris.
Thank you for that, Gabe. So, Charlie, can the president legitimately portray this as a win, even if it is taking off the tariffs he himself put on 6 weeks ago, and even if the deal is just for 90 days?
Well, I mean, the arsonist can always pretend to be the firefighter, right? If he sets the fire and then he puts it out with a garden hose. Look, this is going to be good news for the markets, but I would suggest some cautious skepticism, since this administration has hyped some of these deals, which actually turn out not to be deals. They turn out to be frameworks or suggestions. I think we need to wait a little bit to see what the Chinese say about all of this. But keep in mind, this is temporary, so the uncertainty still exists. But what you are seeing, and maybe this is good news, is that Trump has blinked. China called Trump on his bluff, and he's now backed off. And to the extent that he's saying that it's now up to the Treasury Secretary, Scott Bessent, then perhaps we do have calmer heads, more grown-ups in the room. But again, I think if we've learned anything, it's to be a little bit cautious about the hype that we get from the White House about these deals, which turn out not to be deals.
Yeah, I think there's going to be a lot of conversation about that moving forward. And let's see how the stock market continues to do in the days and weeks ahead. Charlie, always good to see you.